So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Welcome to the Connecting with Coincidence radio show with Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, bringing together the world's synchronicity experts to help you use meaningful coincidences to develop spiritually, psychologically, and practically. For more information, put Connecting with Coincidence into your web browser to find the book, website, Psychology Today blog, YouTube channel, and Facebook page. And now, here is the host of the Connecting with Coincidence radio show, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD.
Well, thank you very much, Rob, for that introduction, and welcome to CC with BB. I am Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, and this is Connecting with Coincidence, connecting you with coincidence. Let's look at a word for coincidence, serendipity. Serendipity means finding things by accident and then recognizing their usefulness. Medical researchers were studying a new antihypertensive drug, and their male subjects reported an improved sex life. Viagra was born. A woman was overbroiling some tofu strips in her oven. She had the tofu strips in her oven and just left them, and came back and saw that she had a vegan version of beef jerky. She made a mistake, and she came up with a business now called Kentucky Vegan Jerky Company. Pretty good stuff. Her business is growing. Go to your local organic store and you might find it. Serendipity, finding stuff that we didn't expect and then finding a use for it. Now let's go to this month's pithy phrase. Low probability coincidences deserve a search for explanation. Tossing them off as chance can miss some very useful understandings about the way the world works. Yeah. And our word for this month is coinciders. Coinciders are people who experience meaningful coincidences. My guests and I are coinciders together, looking at the meanings of synchronicities, and you are joining us. We compare our experiences and find that the world is not the way conventional reality defines it. Our minds are immersed in our mental atmosphere that I call the psychosphere, through which we can be telepathic, clairvoyant, and sense the future, as well as find our own human GPS. Sharpen your sensitivity to coincidences. Examine their potential uses and explanations. Read my book, Connecting with Coincidence, and learn along with me and my guests. Synchronicity, spoken here. Amelía Aeon Karris, our guest today, is the author of Synchronicity, Unlock Your Divine Destiny. She is founding director of Know the Self, a mystery school for modern day living in which she guides truth seekers to access their innate wisdom. She has helped thousands worldwide to liberate their minds, navigate expanding realities, establish sustainable lifestyles, and live out their divine destinies. Know the Self. Welcome back to the show, Amelia.
Thanks, Bernie. It's great to be here with you.
And we're going to talk today about love and synchronicity. It's one of my favorite subjects for a lot of reasons. So many synchronicities involved with love. because love happens in all kinds of ways. People meet each other in strange experiences. I like the ones that have been around for looking across a crowded room and seeing someone, and somehow that person is someone you want to get in touch with. And that happened to you. Why don't you tell us about that story?
Yeah, that was a fun experience. I was working in a crowded, it's called The Hub. It's like an incubation place for entrepreneurs. And so it's about 400 people in a big sort of warehouse type space working. And I was there working with some students of mine, and I just looked up. I felt somebody, I don't know if he was looking at me, but I psychically felt that the person in the kitchen I got this message. He needs to talk to me now. So I just literally stopped what I was doing and walked straight over to him. And
that your ability to do that,
uh-huh.
pick up the feeling of somebody wanting to talk with you. I think that's, and in the same room, I think that's so important to have our listeners know that it's possible to do that, to learn that you can believe these intuitions, these messages you get from yourself about someone else. And this guy you didn't even know.
No, I never saw him before, complete stranger. And I worked in that office space every day, so I knew a lot of the people there. At least they were familiar faces, and he was definitely a stranger. And it was interesting that I didn't second guess the intuition. I just walked straight towards him, and I almost felt like he called me there. And so when I arrived, I was sort of like, what did you want to say to me? And he was so shocked and nervous all of a sudden. And then I realized, it was kind of once I arrived there, I realized what had happened, that he had kind of called me there, and that might be strange for someone, but as I did it, when I made the choice to just walk over there, that all felt matter of fact to me. It was like, oh, he needs to talk to me. And so I just walked straight over there. I felt like he needed my help with something.
It's so cool. It's so cool that you can pick that up like that.
Yeah, and in that space, I was sort of known as the Healthy Hub ambassador, and I led meditation there, and people knew my work in the world. I was one of the only spiritual people in that office space. Most people there were working on tech or other types of projects. So I was sort of known as the spiritual guide there, and I could tell when people maybe needed someone to talk to, or, so it wasn't very strange for me to do that, but it was obviously strange for him. It was very strange for him. So he got very nervous, and he just started fumbling. And then I felt nervous for his nervousness, I threw him off, so I better help him out here, because he's really struggling with my directness. So he was like, I'm looking for napkins. And I started laughing when he said that, because I was like, that's not what you're looking for. You need to talk to me about my work. But then I realized he didn't know who I was. So here I had thought he must know who I am, and he's trying to talk to me, but he doesn't know how to ask me. But that wasn't the case. I think, anyway, later I brought him some napkins, and then I started to chat with him, because I thought I better make him feel comfortable so he can share with me what he really wants to say to me, because he's not being direct. And I started to get confused, honestly, when I got close, like, oh, did I misread this? Like, maybe I was making that up. Like, I started doubting myself. So I just started to talk to him and ask him what he did. And I didn't really understand, but I was like, no, I'm sure he needs my help. And then I gave him my card, because I thought, oh, he probably is nervous because there's so many people here. Like, maybe he'll call me and tell me what it is. But then when I walked away, my students who had witnessed the whole thing, they were like, what just happened? What's going on right now? I said, what did you guys see? And they're like, I don't know, but that was really intense energy between the two of you. And they were all excited and very, I don't know, they were very curious as to what I was seeing and what was happening to me. And then I just said to one of the girls, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I hope he calls me. And I could feel like, oh, maybe I'm attracted to him. And I was like, oh, he was kind of cute. I wasn't really thinking of that because I was just picking up on the energy. So it's kind of funny.
Well, I'm going to summarize what I'm getting from this for our listeners. You're a different person in this environment from the other techies, pretty much.
Yeah.
But you had some students there who keep an eye on you, and so you're moving through this environment in a way that's different from most of the other people, and you have a little bit of an audience while you're doing it, and this. You could feel other times when people wanted to have some connection with you, and you could trust it enough to go over and talk with this guy. But then you got immersed in relating to him, and your students could observe what was going on, and they saw some intense energy going on between the two of you. And that made them wonder, well, where is this thing going? Your ability to move around in that environment and be observed like that, I find fascinating.
Yeah, and it's not, they were there to just help me get some work done. But I think they were excited because they felt, they were learning how to see and learning how to trust their energy. And as that's what I teach in my mystery school. So I think they were observing like, oh, there's something sparking, there's a lot of sparks happening here. And they kind of made me realize that, oh, maybe this is romantic. And I was making it all business-like, thinking he needed, my consulting services and in his personal life. But here it was like, he just saw someone he felt attracted to and he really wanted to talk to me.
And that was the bottom line of it.
Yeah, but I didn't see it like that at first. Yeah.
Well, okay. He liked you, and you could tell. And some would argue that it was a nonverbal thing, observable.
Yeah, totally nonverbal.
But it was observable rather than energy and intuition. And that's one of the problems that I'm interested in. But we're coming to the end of this segment and talking about how we pick up stuff from other people. You're listening to Connecting with Coincidence with your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. And our guest is Amelía Aeon Karris, author of Synchronicity.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shamans worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X Zone Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
Yes, welcome back to CC with BB, Connecting with Coincidence, and I'm your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, and our guest is Amelía Aeon Karris, author of Synchronicity, Unlock Your Divine Destiny. And we've been talking about picking up energy and information from someone across a crowded room. And as we talk about it, I'm just curious about what your students saw. I share with you a belief. Actually, it's not so much a belief, it's like a knowing that there is interpersonal energy that we pick up and that we emit. And that it's more than just seeing someone move arms or facial expressions. And there's something else that's nonverbal that is not fully recognized by mainstream science that some of us pick up quite a bit about. And that's what you were able to pick up across a room. And your students could be watching the two of you talk with each other and both of you smiling in kind of seductive ways without knowing you're doing that with each other. And that's the energy they're talking, some of them may be talking about. I think we're talking about something that's more subtle yet than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very subtle. I don't think there was any overt flirting happening at all. It was very business-like, but yet everybody who was engaged, you know, like me and this guy and my two students could see we're all hyper psychic people. So everybody's reading. It was like we were having one conversation in English, but we were all having another conversation energetically. There was a lot of information being exchanged between the four of us.
It's a great way of saying it, Amelia. It's a great way of saying it. A different conversation energetically.
Completely different, yeah.
Could you try to use English to describe that different conversation a little bit, please?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, what I was sensing from the guy was that he had some really deep, dark kind of secrets that he needed someone who would understand to help him navigate through and heal. And I knew they were of a sexual nature or relating to his sex life. And I knew that he felt that maybe he could trust me or that I could help him with that. That's what I was hearing from him. Uh-huh. That's exactly what I got the second I walked straight up to him. Like, oh, okay, do you want a session? Is basically what I wanted to say. But when I got close, I realized, oh, I can't just ask him if he wants a session because he's already terrified of me that I've even walked over here. But I could tell that he was a very psychic person because the way he sent me the information was directed. You know, some people play with their energy and don't realize that other people can feel it. You know, there's so much living in their fantasy life that they think, oh, I'm going to send this packet of thought form over to this person. And then they're really surprised if that person picks up on it. Well, that's not surprising to me because that's the world I live in and what I teach and how I work in the world. So when I walked up to him so directly and so immediately after he obviously had sent a message to me, I want to talk to you. So I just walked straight towards him. And my students, they were seeing like that we were having another conversation that was not what everybody was hearing with their ears. They were like, oh, he really likes you and he's going to ask you out. And I was thinking, oh, this is personal? I thought this was professional. Because I just was not tuned into his desire for me as a person. I was, and later I asked him, I did date him and I got to know him. And I asked him about that first meeting and he's like, oh no, he told me he did send me that packet that he wanted to talk to me, but he was just observing me from afar and he thought I was a really interesting person and he really felt attracted to me. And he wanted to know who I was.
Sending the thought packet. I mean, I think I do that sometimes and I think I get reactions, and I know I get reactions sometimes, sending thought packets, but to be able to conceptualize that with that nice phrase is really cool. And then what you picked up from him was that he needed some help with his sexuality, and you thought it was business. It became personal. But that's where it's kind of funny. This whole professional personal thing can cross boundaries pretty quickly,
Mm-hmm.
especially when romance is involved.
And in retrospect, I should say I should have kept it professional because he really did need my professional help. But because he was so psychic and so aware of energy and was working with a lot of energy and, we got close pretty quickly. Well, it wasn't that quickly. I mean, I definitely made him work hard for his intimacy with me, but it was a lot of, it was, I felt like it would have been better for him perhaps if we stayed in a professional manner. But, that's just me looking back, wishing that the pain didn't come with it perhaps, because I think he did get a lot of what he had originally looked for. But I think it's fascinating that I saw his wounding before I ever noticed that he was trying to attract me as a partner.
And that's the professional part of you picking up on what he needed, and that's why you went over to him in the first place. In psychotherapy, getting involved sexually with our patients gets you in trouble.
Well, that's why I never had him as a client.
he was it was beginning as a client.
In my mind.
That's what I mean. But you were right.
I think I learned a lot from that experience that I cannot, if I notice that again, that this is not somebody that I want to date. And I tried to keep that boundary, but he was, very good looking, very charming. And he was very skilled in psychic arts. So he used that he was a good match in terms of his ability to communicate telepathically and, charm me on those levels of his gifts. And it was it was an important relationship. I mean, it was through him that I wrote the book, through my agitation with him, but he helped a lot, and he was, he's a good guy. It was just an interesting, way of meeting, because right after I met him, I gave him my card, and I was thinking when I walked away, and my student was like, "What, do you like him? He really likes you." And I thought, oh, I hope he calls me. And I was kind of surprised that I was so attracted to him. And then a week later, my house burned down, and I ended up in a different student's house, staying there because I had nowhere to live. And that girl, the other student, she had gone on a trip, and she said, well, there's other people in the house. It was a large home, but you can stay there, and they all know your house burned down. And so here I was moving into basically strangers' home, and I'm in so much shock. And I went downstairs to make myself tea the first morning, and this guy was standing in the kitchen. And
synchronicity number 2.
Yes.
I'll call the first one a different form, a telepathic version. And so he shows up at this house after your house burned down. So you wouldn't have seen him again had your house not burned down.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I would have at the office or something, but I was waiting for him to call me, and he never called me. And when I saw him in the kitchen, and I said, "Oh, hi," and I called him by his first name, and he was just dumbfounded. Like, his mouth was, he literally had his mouth open, and he couldn't speak. He was like, And I said, "Yeah, I met you the other day." And he's like, "Oh my goodness, you're the woman that, yeah, I wanted to call you." He's like, "I have your card in my wallet." And he opens his wallet and pulls out my business card, and I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "It's your house that burned down?" And yep. And so there we were, kind of. He didn't live in the house. He was there. He was business partner to the other guy who lived there, and so I was kind of stuck there for 2 weeks, not really knowing how to rebuild my life after I lost everything in the fire. And he's a skilled counselor, and so is his friend. And so they ended up really helping me kind of pull myself back together. And so that's how we got to know each other.
Wow.
And then the dating started after I moved out of there. And a few months later, he started, dating me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this helping each other. You moved to help him in the office. House burned down, awful, and there he is to help you with his friend, help you recover your sense of self, to know the self that is now without a house. And so you two of you on just 2 meetings had a lot of intensity going on with each other right away.
Yeah, the whole relationship was like that. Constant synchronicities, and a lot of magic and a lot of intensity. And it was almost too much. It was too much intensity for me. It was like I needed way more calm and stable.
Yes, I know the feeling. I've been through recently a lot, and it's turmoil. It's much nicer to have calm. But in our next segment, I want to be able to talk about the synchronicities that happened in that relationship, because those synchronicities tend to reinforce the idea that this is a relationship that should maintain itself. You're listening to Connecting with Coincidence with your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. And our guest is Amelía Aeon Karris, author of Synchronicity, Unlock Your Divine Destiny.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Elie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
Welcome back to CC with BB, Connecting with Coincidence, with your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, and we are talking with Amelía Aeon Karris, author of Synchronicity, Unlock Your Divine Destiny. And her website is knowtheself.com. And we've been talking about a love of hers, a love experience of hers, and synchronicity, and trying to be able to say what's the place of synchronicity in love. And you had an intense relationship with this man, beginning with a lot of intensity, as we've talked about. And tell us something about some of the synchronicities that took place in that relationship and what they meant to you and possibly what they meant to him.
Yeah, well, on one of our first dates, I was living out in the woods, and so he would drive out to visit me, and it was very romantic, oceanside, woods and beauty. And I realized, for some reason, I called him Mr. Fox, and it just sort of came out of my mouth, like that's his new nickname or something. And I kept wondering, why did I call him Mr. Fox? And then after he went home and I was driving back home that day, just from the coast into my house where it was deep in the woods, I came across 7 different foxes in the road, like a whole family of foxes crossed the road. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I work with shamanism and animal spirits. So when you see that many animals in one day, you realize the medicine of that animal is trying to say something to you, right? So I was like, fox, oh my God, that's complete trickster energy. And, oh, he's a fox, I better be careful. And so this little bit of paranoia and fear started brewing. And the foxes kept appearing everywhere. Like my friend was waiting for me at my house, and she has a little kid. And we were walking around the property, and there was some scat on the ground, and her husband said, oh, that looks like bobcat. And I said, no, it's a fox. And what do I know? I don't know what fox scat looks like, but I said it so confidently. And right when I said it, her little son ran past us, and he was wearing a red fox hat. And I thought, oh my goodness, there's the fox again, the symbology on the hat. And then every time I went for my morning walk, there would be scat, the same looking scat, all along my path. When I went to water my plants, this apple would be like bitten, half-eaten apple would be near my water can. I would always throw it out. And I felt like I was playing fetch with some animal. And so all of this kind of felt fantastical. Like, oh, I really have this wild imagination that I've got this pet fox. But I knew it was connected to this guy. And sure enough, every time I would see the fox, something in his life, like I would call him and I would know something about him, like he's being foxy with other ladies, or, he's kind of, because he knew I didn't trust him in that way. I felt like he doesn't know how to be monogamous, and he's too much of a charmer. And he knew my concerns about the relationship or dating him. And he was like, promising to me that he was going to be 100% monogamous and just with me, but I could feel that our versions of monogamy were very different. And
when you saw a fox, you didn't see the fox, you just saw evidence of the fox.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The fox that was playing with you that you never saw, but saw evidence of, the scat, the apple. The fox somehow, when you saw evidence of the fox having been around, connected you with his psyche in a way that allowed you to know what he was doing.
Oh yeah, I would get so much information, and I would just always know to call him right then, just to see. And sometimes he would be very surprised, often, like why I called at that particular moment. Because I would just say, "What are you doing right now?" And then he'd be like, why did you call right now?
I'm with this other woman right now. Did that happen sometime?
Yeah, like one time he was traveling, and again, this thing with the fox, the invisible fox around my house. And I called him because I was like, okay, this just happened. Oh, what happened was I went to my meditation nook, which was this hollowed out redwood tree, and I kept my Tibetan bowl there, which, my singing bowl that I use for meditation, and the fox had scat inside the bowl.
Yeah.
And so
that's a message. That's a message.
That really pissed me off because, that's my sacred object. And it had taken the mallet that you hit the bowl with and had put it outside the meditation area. It was like, 50 feet away. So then I called him and I was kind of laughing because it was comical and shocking. And I was like, this fox is really trying to get my attention. And sure enough, he told me he was walking with a woman who was wearing a fox fur coat. And he had just told her that I was having all these experiences with foxes and that I call him Mr. Fox. He was telling her this.
Oh, beautiful.
When I called.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and so he was like, oh my God, I was just talking to this woman. And I was like, what does she look like? She's probably gorgeous. And I'm sure you're flirting with her in this way of like, he had this way of, he's flirting with her, telling her about his girlfriend, me, right? So that was kind of his foxy way of like, you should trust me because I have a girlfriend, therefore I can get close to you. That was his way of doing it. It was very foxy nature. And it was so adorable that you couldn't really ignore him. He was really good at it. And so I didn't know if I hated him or loved him. Like I couldn't stand this behavior, but it was so adorable that I couldn't stop laughing. But I was also crying. And so I got off the phone with him and I got so angry. Like my feelings were so confused that I just decided to scream really loud because I was in the middle of the woods. Nobody could hear me. And I was doing my own like cathartic release. And when I was screaming, just like, I got to let this out. Because I had asked him to help me focus. Like when I'm in connection with someone, I need them to like sort of ground the energy and not be doing something that distracts me because I was writing my book. And I look out in the middle of me screaming. All of a sudden I hear ta-tum, and I look at my front window, which was this big glass door, and there's the red fox sitting on my doorstep, just staring at me. And so I finally could see him, and then my screaming turned to laughing, and he let me take a photo of him. He almost let me pet him.
Wow.
Yeah, and then from then on, I had seen him a number of times. He would show himself. So he was like adopting me, this fox. For months, he was following me. It wasn't just once or twice. It was pretty much every day for about 3 months that I had this experience with the fox.
The scat in the bowl, moving the mallet, and you're calling Mr. Fox, and he's being foxy with a woman with a fox, a piece of clothing on her, and then you scream, and then you see the red fox showing up. That's a big cluster of foxiness in one like relatively short period of time.
And you know what happened? I sent him the photo of the fox, and I said, see, it was a fox, because he wasn't sure that I was really being followed by a fox, because, I would tell him, that's why I called you, because I saw the scat. And he was thinking like, wow, she's either crazy psychic or this fox is real. Like he wasn't, or both. Right. And, when I sent him the photo of the fox, he was so shocked and excited, and he was still with that woman. So he showed her, look, she just saw the fox, and he's explaining the whole story to her, right? That's how he's hanging out with her. Well, she got so afraid of him, she ran away.
Wow.
And I couldn't stop laughing because the fox was sort of helping me get rid of this woman that I didn't want him hanging out with.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Well,
So
I look at that whole cluster of foxiness, the whole thing, as a very low probability event with a lot of power in it, a lot of energy in it. And you made it even more in the midst of it by screaming and then telling the story, and she blows it. It blows her up and makes her run away. That the fox becomes a representative of him in your life. He's a fox, but you've got the fox there acting something like him. But then the fox becomes your ally that day.
yeah, well, you know what the fox represents in the Native American lore is synchronicity itself. It walks between the worlds. So the fox always stays on the edge of the forest between where the forest meets the meadow. And that's why it can never be seen. So it was following me the whole time. Like I started reading up on fox behavior. Like, is this fox really adopting me? Because I could feel him all the time. And I would leave treats out for him each night. And I would even fall asleep in front of the window waiting to see him. But he always knew when I would fall asleep. Then he would take the treat. Because I would feel him and I'd wake up or open my eyes and it was gone. So it was like that split second. He would know. And I read up on the fox, and sure enough, that's what they do. That's why they're the tricksters, because they hide on the edge of the forest, but very close to the meadow.
You became more and more connected to the fox, kind of like the way you connected with Mr. Fox early on, and we're still psychically connected with him. We're coming to the end of this segment, and this is very, very interesting. You're listening to Connecting with Coincidence with your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Our guest is Amelía Aeon Karris, and we are talking about foxes.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Path Home Shamanic Art School has just launched a new online series of classes, Galactic Shamanism, Art of the Ancients, Key to Tomorrow. In these classes, composed and taught by Path Home founder and director Gwilda Wiyaka, you'll learn practical shamanic skills to support your daily life, such as how to build a medicine wheel to access the power of the earth, perform a shamanic journey, create sacred space in which to live and work, empower your life with totem animals, elementals, and fairy folk, and learn the art of accurately reading signs and omens. These tried and true skills are the key to living a powerful, productive life. Visit us at findyourpathhome.com to see the ever-growing collection of classes and leading-edge information to support you during these times of uncertainty and transition. All can be found at findyourpathhome.com.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, The 70-Year Cover-Up Exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
You are listening to Connecting with Coincidence with your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, and that is me. And our guest is Amelía Aeon Karris, and she is describing a wonderful string of synchronicities involving a fox or foxes. And it's a synchronicity form that is observable by anybody else. It's not just thinking about it and then it happens out there in some form. This is an observable form. It's a string. And I call them thing coincidences. And this is a remarkable one that culminated in our last segment with a lot of foxiness happening in a short period of time, mixed in with a blood-curdling scream that brought the fox out of the woods to say hi to Amelia. Well, what happened then as you and the fox got connected? And I want to emphasize what you're describing. I got a song from one of my patients called A Golden Thread. And it's the idea that we're connected to other beings, particularly ones we love. And you were connected to Mr. Fox, but then you became more and more connected to the fox itself. And I love that kind of stringy connection, not just information packets being sent, but actually some kind of transmission line having been established.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel that animals, they carry medicine with them to bring us gifts, or, if you know about shamanic energies and how the animal totem kind of delivers powers with it. And I felt that the fox medicine was being gifted to me at that time, like how to see between these, this golden thread that connects all of us through synchronicities and what the bigger meaning is. And I feel that the fox was really training me. I mean, I was writing the book at that time on synchronicity. And so the fox, became a prominent part of the book. And what was helping
fox
me write it.
What's fox medicine? What is fox medicine?
It is synchronicity. It's about being between worlds and really merging the unseen with the seen, which is what I do and which is what I was writing about. Which is, how Mr. Fox showed up in my life. And our whole relationship was very psychic and very otherworldly. I mean, the entire relationship itself was built on synchronicity, and every experience we had was very synchronistic and magical all the way to the end.
Could you give us some examples, and then we can try to get to the end in the last part of this? Well,
I think I want to not talk so much about him, but more about how synchronicity plays a role in relationships, because I found all my relationships through synchronicity, and I developed relationships based on that. I guess I've always looked for that magic, or that magic has kind of found me and guided me to people. And I got confused for a long time, especially in my younger years, that synchronicity meant that, this is destiny, therefore my soulmate or the one, right? This is where I'm supposed to kind of land up.
So important. This is so important, Amelia.
Yeah, and I think he was also confused by it, like, oh, am I supposed to have a family with her? Is this the one? And yet there were so many other things that didn't really match up for us, very practical things that needed to be looked at. And And so in the end, we broke up and we're not together.
And I want to keep emphasizing that there is the synchronicity that brings the hearts and the souls together, but then there's 3D reality that we have to deal with. And as you just implied and have more details we don't have to get into, it didn't fit for the two of you to be together. Some things didn't work. Some people just go ahead and throw themselves into it because it's so synchronistic. They don't work on their relationship. They don't see the problems, and it falls apart.
Yeah, well, what I want to say is that just because there's synchronicity doesn't mean that this is a match made in heaven, even though it is from heaven and it is divinely guided. And I did need to have that relationship.
Yes.
But it does, adding the whole romantic belief set onto it, or these programs that love is supposed to last forever, or this is we have to make this work because it was just so magical that how could we let go? That really gets you into trouble, I feel, because when I look back at all the relationships, and I've been married twice and had quite a few relationships, and they all have amazing magical stories to them, but it wasn't to like be this romantic story that lasts in forever and ever. They were lessons, very big lessons that I needed to. They were kind of initiations and pathways, and really helped form who I am today, and gave me a lot of gifts and blessings, even though there was a lot of pain. And so when I talk to others who are having a lot of magic and synchronicity, I guess my biggest message is it doesn't mean that it's forever. It doesn't mean that this is that golden one, that you need to really stay in reality also, because relationships can't function 100% on the synchronicity flow, even though we still have to make money, we still have to hold a household and like get comforted and nurtured and loved the way we need to. Those things are really important too. But I feel that synchronicity, what it does is it helps us understand who we are at a spiritual level. Like it helps unlock gateways inside ourselves that we're trying to discover, what's the purpose of our life? What are my gifts? What am I here to do? And these kind of synchronistic relationships, I think, come in to help us train or form that deeper sense of self. I don't think it's about the relationship per se.
Very well said, Amelia. One of my coincidence songs is called "All Those Coincidences," and it's just about this. They've done just about this because it's so important to get this across to people involved with synchronicities in love. They are lessons. They are experiences. They could be initiations, but they don't necessarily mean that it's going to be forever. It's so amazing how romance makes you feel that for a while, but it's only at the beginning. After a while, you got to take care of business. Now, what else do you want to tell our audience about love and synchronicity? Because I think you made a beautiful summary right there.
Yeah, well, I think that, we have romantic notions, and I think we need to look at the belief patterns, especially my generation. I feel that, we're just craving
what is your generation? Generation
X.
Okay.
I was born in the 70s. But I feel that they're like, we don't typically believe that marriage should last forever, or, we're testing out a lot of different relationship dynamics because we want to be fulfilled. We want to keep our independence, or, and I can just speak for myself. I'm not looking for marriage and a white picket fence. Like that kind of scared me. So I've been on a path of like discovering fulfillment. I want to fulfill my potential. I want to fulfill the needs that I have. I don't want to settle for anything sort of less than. And so I've called a lot of synchronicity towards me in that discovery. Now, if you're looking for a partner that you want to have a family with and grow old together, well, maybe you don't want to follow synchronicity in that pathway, because I do think that synchronicity is here to challenge us and to wake us up to our sleeping memory. And that sleeping memory, when we wake up to it, it causes spiritual awakenings. It's not for the ones who want to stay the same. It's for exponential growth. So when you're having a lot of synchronicity, it's confusing, and you have to be like a detective to put the pieces together, and you start waking up to other realities that are really mind-bending and can be very confusing. You know, I help guide people in putting together those pieces of reality, and it can kind of take over your life. So if you're looking for a really stable life, I wouldn't suggest, following synchronicity all day long.
Why don't you we have just a little while left. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do and how people can get in touch with you?
Sure. I run a mystery school called Know the Self. And if you go to knowtheself.com, I run there's an intro course that's self-paced that people can help them guide through synchronicity if they've had an awakening or if they're having a lot of synchronistic experiences. I help people learn how to be sovereign and hone their inner navigation system so they can be that detective and really understand why these experiences are happening to them, because it's probably happening because you're here to do something quite important on the planet. So I like to guide them and help them stabilize what I call the starseed awakening. And I also just launched a podcast called Love, Sex, and the Hidden Agenda, where I talk a lot about relationship dynamics and what's behind it, and share a lot about what I've learned through my relationships. It's me and another therapist. So that just came out last week.
Very good. You've expanded my ideas about synchronicity and love. I kind of knew it, but I needed words. I needed to be able to conceptualize a little more clearly, because it's so jolting to be involved and then have it be over with such intensity. And
right.
So we've had an intensity, and we're over now too. So thank you very much for.
It was great.
You've been listening. You're welcome, Amelia. You're listening. Connecting with Coincidence. I'm your host, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, and our guest has been Amelía Aeon Karris.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.